How's it going? So I'm going to review two products which on the face of things seem very similar, but are actually quite different in parts, and we're going to compare them to one another and see whether you should pay way up to something like 180, 190 pounds, or maybe just stick down in the sort of 80, 90 pound bracket. I've been using these two devices now for a number of days to really get a feel for how they work and how easy they are to use and sync and all the rest of it. The first thing that is quite different is the way in which they're packaged for moving about. The Comica, even though at first I thought, oh, this is a really big bulky box, and then you've still got this rather nice, by the way, carrying case for all the different sorts of accessories. Now, upon living with them a little bit more, I've tend to found that this is much better packaged. These MAONOs come with a little carrying case, which, to be honest, I don't know if it's a bit of an afterthought, but I can only really fit in the external microphone and maybe a microphone guard, because the pouch itself doesn't really fit both of the devices in at all. It only had a squeeze, and then by the time you pack something else, it's falling out the top and there's no room to get the Velcro thing down, and then you're worried that you're going to damage the contents. So I think what these are mainly aimed towards is people who want to vlog on the go, but they want to be able to set a camera up away from the person, be able to clip this on. So this one has a built-in microphone, and you can clip that on there, and then your base unit will be with your video camera and plugged in. Similar with this, you take one of the two microphones, which is obviously an added benefit if you need two microphones over the one, and you would clip this here. So there's the difference in how they look, and then the base unit goes back to wherever your camera is. Now, of course, these both have built-in microphones. When they're clipped on, they'll pick up your voice absolutely perfect, and again, we'll look at that later. But they both have the capability to plug in an external microphone, like one of these, if you want to be a little bit more conspicuous with the viewing of the microphone, or you might have a more professional version of one of these microphones, maybe like a higher quality one, and you just want to use these as a transmitter. And there's another difference. The MAONO system comes with one of these handy little clip-on mics. Both of these base units have thought about clipping onto professional cameras. So this one, designed into the clip itself, this can apparently clip straight onto the top of a professional camera. This one, on the other hand, comes with this additional clip, which is nicely magnetized to the top and it's not going anywhere, and then this can clip onto the base of your camera or the top of the camera, depending on where you want it to be. Let's talk about charging. With the Comica system, it's very simple. They charge using the base unit, and there's a big battery in here. It's got a battery indicator at the side as to how much charge it's got, and they charge on the go, and then you charge this with a single input USB Type-C. Downside with the MAONOs is that you have to charge them individually. Now, fair enough, you get two small USB A to C chargers, or you could just use any existing USB Type-C charger that you've got, and I think it's a 5 volt, it's a DC 5 volt max on both of them. But the problem with this is you then need to find two USB A ports to charge it up. You're then having to bring two additional chargers, and then you've got to think you might have your phone and a couple of other devices. You can have lots and lots of socket heads, and it's just so much more messy than this, and just being able to plug one single wire in, and then you know that all three units are being charged. If you don't mind all these cables and forgetting that this pouch is rubbish, and you're probably best buying a bigger pouch like the one that this comes with anyway, or just carrying it around in the original box, which is what I've been doing with all of the accessories on the inside, then go ahead. And then it's a similar sort of story when it comes to plugging these things into devices. So take my old phone as an example unit. You're going to need USB Type-C to headphone jack, or a lightning cable if you're on an iPhone. Then you're going to take the bass unit, and then you need another wire. So that goes here, and then this goes into the output. And then you have this, which, as you can see, is not very well all together, is it? Compare that to pay an extra £100. You pick up this unit, you pop it into the bottom of your device, bearing in mind you probably have to take the case off, and there it is. So yeah, this is way more neater than this. Add to this then headphones. So if you want to monitor your input, and it gets messy. And that's the other good thing about this system. When you plug it into the USB port, you can plug in headphones as well into this output, which means you can both monitor what's coming through from the microphone at a distance, in real time, by the way. There's no like horrible Bluetooth sort of delay if you've ever experienced that before. Plus, if you're like wanting to listen back to the video that you've just recorded, it will also come out of here. And of course, when you're on the go with the unit, with the microphone unit, you can monitor your sound on your person as well. So you don't need to keep running back to bass unit to listen to what you've just recorded or what you are recording. You can monitor it in real time. When you compare that to the MAONO system, yes, you have a microphone input, so you can choose between the onboard one and the microphone, but there's no headphone input here, so you have to go back to the bass unit to be able to listen to what you are recording. Then that's the other thing. Because on the bass unit, there's only an output and not an input and an output, the sound from your phone won't come through to here where you're monitoring your sound. So yes, you can monitor your sound from here, although that might be away, and then you've got to make sure it's on. So you could put this on someone, fair enough, and you could be monitoring their sound. Or you could set this up at the phone, walk away, go do a little test, and then come back and listen to it. But to listen to it, you need to unplug this or unplug this, there you go, and listen to your sound, and then plug it all back in again once you know it's right, and then you could plug it back in the wrong sequence. It's just a lot more messy. What I found is this system is just more basic, which is why it's more than half the price, and it's a more classic system, whereas the Comica system is trying to do everything in one little pack. But again, you have to pay a premium for it. So we'll do an unboxing. You can see what's in the box for both, and then we're gonna be straight onto the testing. Let's start with and I always struggle to pronounce this, but I'm gonna go with MAONO. This is the unboxing experience. Box within a box. One of these is gonna be the transmitter, and one of these is going to be the receiver. That is a USB-A to USB Type-C cable. MAONO tend to do decent quality cables, and also I love the little straps that they put on as well. Losing another cable, USB-A to C, so there's the two cables included in the box. And here is the other, I believe, let's see, output and headphones. And here we have microphone. We've got a stereo connector to a stereo with microphone. That is a nice little microphone shield, which will be used for outdoors to stop the wind from blowing on the microphone. We have a normal stereo jack. This is the included microphone. A nice little storage pouch. Let's see what the experience is like of the Comica. Okay, still got the cellophane on this. So let's see if the quality of this unboxing experience is twice the price of the other microphones. Intelligent noise reduction. Now this is where the price is going to start going up if it's got automated noise reduction, whereas the other one might simply just be a transmitter with no noise reduction. But then again, if you're using it for things like Zoom, Teams, they tend to have their own built-in noise reduction capabilities, which are good. And it says for a smartphone / tablet, for computer, or for a professional camera. Got a skin over there. The user manual has its own cardboard case. Now we've got a proper protective foam case in this that is much more expensive feeling. Oh, and this has got a lot more of a weight to it. This actually charges the devices, so you've got to think there'll be a battery inside here. Okay, tiny little clip there to open it, which is nice. Oh, and some blue lights have come on automatically. Let's come back to the unit itself in a minute, and let's just have a quick look at what's in this box here. We have a USB-A to USB-C adapter. This looks like some sort of a clip that can go onto your typical stands. We have a nice, and I must say, slightly higher quality stereo with the microphone on both ends this time, mini jack, and what seems to be the exact same cable, a USB type A to USB type C. We had two of them with the other package. You can already see how these companies are thinking of all the same sort of things. So we have a much larger, and this looks square, to connect onto this square microphone. So that is for your wind reduction. And just like the MAONO, look at that, nice. With the Comica logo on it. That will fit everything inside and protect this plastic from getting all scratched. That's a lovely touch. Let's take a look at the unit itself. Okay, so there's a little open button down here. I like the way everything's USB Type-C, by the way. This looks like it's the receiver unit. These are the microphones. We have what looks like an onboard microphone. Flip it over the other way. You can connect your own microphone. Volume mute, single and duplex off. M/S or mono and stereo. There's a nice little screen on here as well, but it's very clear, and so far it's just got A, B, and that they are both muted. And as I click, you can see it's toggling through the volume settings. So I'm speaking into the microphone directly now on volume 2. Let's see how they go up against each other. Okay, let's start with the MAONO. So I've clipped this down here, and we're using the onboard system. So as you can see, that's like very clear, and this is pretty normal. The sound you're hearing right now is not the sound you were just listening to, which is this microphone that I use here. It is all completely from this mic here. It's going into my phone, my test phone, and that is the only audio you're hearing, and I haven't done any post-processing on it. As you can see, I've got this rather hefty setup going on. Now I'm monitoring the sound to make sure it's all okay. So then I could say, okay, well, I'm happy. Let's just put the system down, take the headphones out, and I know that everything is well. And I can set this camera up wherever I want it to be. And no matter where I place it, the sound's always going to be the same because it's here. So that's pretty neat, isn't it? And as you can hear, the sound quality is as good as it's gonna get. Much better than what you get off a phone anyway. So I definitely look at getting some sort of a different holding mechanism as part of your, if you're gonna put this on a tripod, for instance, you could perhaps clip this to part of the tripod. Now I'm interested to see the difference between the onboard microphone, which is fairly close to my mouth, and the microphone that they supply. So that's quite cool. I was able to just plug it straight into the bass unit. I didn't have to press any buttons. And by the way, I've synced these once, and you seem to just be able to switch them on and off, and they're always in sync. There is a slight delay. You probably couldn't make your video and keep these on all the time. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. That was successful, and there's been no dropouts. And I've also tested this at quite a range. I've even tested it through walls, and it doesn't seem to drop out at all. So very impressed. Okay, then on to the Comica. Straight away, the clarity of this microphone is better than what I was just listening to on this microphone. Now, weirdly, when I used these headphones and clipped them into the bass unit, there's like a bit of a distortion going on, and I don't know if that's just because it's trying to transmit it in real time. I don't think it was clipping. Well, I can actually read on this fancy little screen here, whether I am clipping or not. So if I go, hey, hey, and then there's a volume control, which by volume, I think they actually mean gain. So you can set the sensitivity of your microphone. So yeah, let's just now hear what this is like with a plugged in microphone, and we use the exact same microphone that came in the MAONO box. Okay, so I've now switched over. Because I'm taking up the input, which is both the microphone input for external mics and the headphone input for monitoring what you're listening to off that microphone, I've now switched back to monitoring off the bass unit. I'm getting that distortion sort of effect, but I'm still able to see on the unit that it's absolutely fine and I'm not clipping speaking at this sort of a volume. So at this point in the video, I'm pretty sure a few of you guys might have realised what I've come to realise in post. The Comica system, despite being the more expensive advanced system, seems to have a fuzziness to its sound. When I was listening to it with my headphones plugged directly into the microphone unit, it was very clear and there wasn't any of this fuzziness. However, when I listened back to what was actually picked up and recorded on the phone, it had that fuzziness that I was listening to when you monitor it on the bass unit. I wondered if this might have had something to do with my phone being a bit old now, so I tested it on the computer, and to be honest, things only got worse. This is what I actually recorded as a test. Pretty decent input volume, looking to see if there's any fuzziness on the sound. Not too sure what's going to happen. So it had that weird dropout effect, and if anything, I could just hear more clearly the sort of, not so much distortion, but that fuzziness effect. I can only assume there's a slight issue going on between the transition of the sound from the microphone into the bass unit. So it's strange how I got better results plugging it directly into the phone compared to trying to record into Ableton, which I used to do most of my recordings these days. There's obviously some compatibility issues going on there. So because of these sort of compatibility issues, I have to actually give the sound quality to the MAONO system, even though it's a more flat sound and probably not as clear if you were on like a Zoom call or whatever. But for someone who is going to record their voice on the go as a vlog and then post-process that sound, that would be a much easier sound to work with because you're not having to work with that fuzziness. I'm also sure 90% of people aren't going to realise there's that fuzziness going on with the Comica. Another thing is, I've got the USB Type-C version to be used with the likes of Android. Who knows, these systems might have been set up to be a bit more compatible with Apple. Like I say, the user experience was great, and the screen, being able to monitor how much input you're giving to the microphone and it not showing that it was distorted. It was quite disappointing then to listen back to the quality to find out all of that sort of artificial improvements that must be going on within the box to enhance the voice actually just makes it sound more fuzzy. So then, which is best? People might be thinking the audio quality is pretty much the same, and these are a hell of a lot cheaper, so this is what I'd go for. Other people might think, well, no, portability and having a nice little case that charges everything up and it's more suave and it even comes with a nice little, package and whatever. They might be thinking this is well worth the money, and I don't want all this wire business going on when trying to record, and also the charging's a little bit more awkward and a little bit more full of wires. So user experience obviously goes to Comica, but for that experience, you're obviously going to have to pay the premium.